Got it.
Okay.
Okay, so now we are recording.
Okay, we better be careful what we say.
30 minutes into it.
So I was thinking, I know that Saturday morning's not your guys' favorite time. I'm wondering if we just can't set a set time every week. Maybe we just need to each week look at our week and say, hey, what time works this week?
I'm fine with that.
I mean, we can know that Saturday morning is a backup, that if all else fails, we have Saturday morning.
Okay. What do you think, James?
That's true.
Okay.
That works.
My problem is I teach classes a few times a month in the evening, so it's an inconsistent day.
Yeah.
So that's where it's hard. So let's kind of talk through our days and figure out. I know Sunday obviously is the Sabbath, so we're not going to meet on the Sabbath. I know I work during the day Monday through Friday, so daytime just isn't going to work for me at all. I know Monday evenings are generally family home evening, but honestly, my husband works nights, so Monday night is an option for me. I don't know what your guys' family situation is.
Monday through Wednesday is pretty much off the table for me.
Okay.
Okay. Tuesdays, I'm Young Women's President, and we have mutual on Tuesdays. So Tuesdays would be really hard for me.
Tuesdays would be better than Wednesdays for me because of Young Women's, but because I'm in the stake, it goes back and forth, and each week is a little bit different. So mostly Wednesdays. So that's a little tricky too. But I'm willing to do Wednesday nights late, but it would be late for my time, I guess.
And you're in Utah, right?
I am.
Okay.
So we've got Thursday nights.
Yeah. Thursday, I usually have presidency meetings, of course. Yeah. But it's every other week. We just have it twice a month. Sorry, my eye's watering this morning. So, I mean, Thursdays, James, what's your Thursday like?
The late morning is probably doable to an extent.
Mornings I work during the day, Monday through Friday.
So, it almost sounds like Saturday might just need to be what we plan on.
Might be the only time.
Unless something else comes up. So.
Well, how does Friday work for you guys?
Friday evenings are hard for me. That's kind of our little get out of the house night. So I'd be willing to switch it as we needed, but I wouldn't want it to be consistent. So.
Okay. So it sounds like we just need to keep it at Saturday morning then. I see two problems with Saturday mornings. First, next week we have general conference.
Yep.
So we either need to meet early or between sessions, and between sessions is crazy. So I'd rather we would meet before. And then I don't know if you guys I always try to look a week ahead to see what's going on, but then the following week, we're supposed to meet earlier in the week.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it said if you had a Saturday group that you needed to meet sooner. I'm trying to remember why. Let me see if I wrote down why. So yeah, not this week, but the first week in October. I don't remember why. I just remember seeing that and thinking that was weird.
Okay. Well, I would be open to Wednesdays later night or Thursday later night if that works. But I don't remember what everyone said. But you've got presidency meetings, so maybe.
And Tuesday, I mean, I have mutual. I have to pick girls up. I mean, I guess if we needed to do Tuesday, I'm trying to think. If we met from like 5 to 6 Pacific time, I could probably make that work on Tuesday. It'd be tough, but I could do it.
Becky, when you say later night, what do you mean as far as time?
I didn't say later night. I think it was.
Sorry.
That's right.
Okay.
I was saying on Wednesday it would have to be after 8:30 my time, so it'd be 7:30 your time.
Oh, so that's early for us.
Yeah.
Like 10 or something.
Yeah, midnight. No, I'm not quite that. That's fine. Yeah. So if you wanted to do 8:30 or 9 on Wednesday nights, I could probably make that work. So
that would be, so if you said 9 your time, that'd be 8 our time.
Yep.
I could do that on Wednesdays.
Now, Mondays and Wednesdays are going to be bad for me. Tuesdays are not the greatest either.
So Wednesday evening
If we're
doesn't
going to do
work for
that
you,
one
James?
meeting, what?
So I'm just trying to understand. Wednesday evening is out for you? You have other conflicts or something?
Well, if we have to do that one meeting early in the week that we're talking about, I guess I'd have to make something work for that one week. But in general, it's a lot easier to have it like Friday or Saturday or something like that.
Okay. And while I know it's
Because Monday,
easier, I think we're trying to find something that works for everybody, and we're all trying to chip in and make it happen. So,
Could we do a Wednesday night on that week that we need to finish the assignment? Could we look at the Thursday nights when you don't have presidency meeting and do a Thursday night and then otherwise fill in on a Saturday morning? That would kind of make it different every week, which might be crazy, but at least, it wouldn't have to be Saturday morning every week. So
yeah. Or we could, I could try to double it up with my presidency meeting. It would just, again, be.
But that's a lot. That's a lot for you on one night.
It's a lot every day.
Yeah, well, that's true. But
right?
yeah. James, a really interesting thing is Becky is the Young Women's President. Well, I should say this. My daughter is serving in Becky's ward as a missionary.
It's pretty awesome.
oh wow,
Yeah.
that is awesome.
Yeah, anyway, that's kind of neat.
Kind of cool.
We'll have to schedule a meeting at dinner time, and she can kind of be there
There you go.
having dinner.
I don't think my missionary would appreciate that. That would probably put her over the edge.
So I'm still confused about what we're going to do. Are we going to meet Saturdays? Are we going to try to meet earlier? What's the plan?
Well, okay, let's plan on just next week. Let's just do week by week, like you said. So let's look at next week. Because of general conference on Saturday, would we like to meet earlier on Saturday, or do we want to meet Wednesday night late or Thursday night?
Is meeting after conference an option?
Oh, So the problem is that we are meeting on Saturday for this prior week. So we would either need to meet sometime this week prior to Saturday. You know what I mean? Like we couldn't do it the following week.
Yeah.
For me, I think with conference, I think it's going to be best to meet Saturday early before conference or to meet another day this week.
So you guys choose. I am good. I've got a meeting Wednesday night, but I think I can get him out of here by 8:30, so I could do that, or I could do Thursday night. If you don't have presidency meeting, I'm open Thursday night.
I'm open this Thursday night completely.
So James, could you do it for this week on Thursday night for 45 minutes to an hour?
This coming Thursday?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me quickly double check with the missus.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
This should not be that difficult.
It should not be that difficult.
Crazy.
So Becky, how many classes are you taking?
Well, I usually only take 2 a semester, but then I changed my emphasis to finance, and they've got all those 1-credit classes. So I'm taking 2 3-credits and then a 1-credit. But those 1-credit classes, they're more work than you think they should.
Really? Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, let's see how it goes.
Yeah. Good
All right,
luck.
James, what'd she say?
So what time on Thursday?
You choose. What time?
As late as possible would probably be best.
Could we do 8 and I do 9? It would be 9 o'clock my time, or 8:30 and 9:30 my time.
So that would be 8:30 Pacific?
Yep.
Can we do 8 o'clock Pacific time?
8 Pacific?
Yeah.
This is just for this week only, right?
Yeah.
For this, I think we're just going to have to, each time we meet, schedule our next meeting.
Okay. Yeah, 8 o'clock should be fine.
Okay.
I'm just.
Pacific.
Yep. Okay, great. Then we don't have to do it on conference weekend, which I'm thrilled about.
Yeah, that'll be a lot better. So
So
we're going to say Thursday, September 29th at 8 p.m. Pacific time.
great. Got it.
Okay.
All right.
Great.
On my calendar. Okay. So
All right.
Now, just one. Well, I just had a quick question. Are we Group 6 or Group 7?
I think we're group 6.
That's what I had down, but I noticed some of the messages were coming through as Group 7.
I don't know. I didn't even pay attention to the number. I have no idea.
I think it's 6.
Hey, at least we're getting work done.
Yeah.
Thanks for meeting.
All right, go for it. Who wants to lead out? I honestly don't quite know what we're supposed to do exactly. So
Yeah, it's kind of weird because we weren't technically supposed to meet this week, but then he decided we were. So
I guess.
I just printed up the discussion prompts from the discussion board.
Okay.
And so it's got 4 different categories. So I think if we just kind of talk through each of those categories, then I think that sounds reasonable to me.
Great.
So the first category is the business model. So it's talking about competitive advantage. It says, what is a competitive advantage? What is Cirque du Soleil's competitive advantage? And then it asks about their business model, what their business model is, and how did Cirque du Soleil balance the need for profitability, growth, and creative investment, and how would you change or improve upon it? So I think we're looking at what's their competitive advantage, what's their business model, how do they balance profitability, growth, and creative investment, and how would we change or improve it for the first part of the discussion.
I just came up with a definition of competitive advantage.
Okay, what's that?
Competitive advantage is when a superiority is gained by an organization, like an edge over rivals and an ability to generate greater value for a firm and its shareholders. Examples: a lower cost of differentiation. Competitive advantage results from matching core competencies to the opportunities.
So Cirque du Soleil's competitive advantage, I think, is that their creativity, really, with their shows and their ability to find that talent.
That's what I think. I think.
True, they do.
Go ahead.
Well, yeah. I mean, they customize it with the performers. That's live performers doing it.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen a show before?
I haven't. I've always wanted to.
Yeah, I saw one in Orlando years ago, and it blew my mind. It wasn't anything that I expected, and so I look at their competitive advantage is that they are outside the box as far as a circus, a big top, a dance performance, a big show. I just think their ability to create things is through the roof, and so I think that their competitive advantage is definitely that they've got this talent and this vision of creating something spectacular that is not compared to many other things I can think of. So,
and I think that kind of goes with their, I guess, business model, but just the idea that they don't have the same show in a lot of different places, right? So it's specific performers doing each specific show, and that's how they really individualize it and make it so it's not just cookie cutter where everybody can do it.
Right. Just this summer, they had a big top performance, and I wish I could remember what it was called. I think it was Odyssey, and they set up in a mall parking lot, and it was a big top show with horses and performers similar to Cirque, and it was enormous. But that same show, everything is taken to each location, and so even that is, though it's spectacular, it's exactly what you're saying. It's not individualized or custom to the area or the performance or the venue, which I think their business model does well.
Yeah.
I think another advantage they have is they are huge. I mean, it's a global company.
Yeah.
So that would be hard to start up against.
Yeah. I'm intrigued, though, because all of this information and even stuff I looked up was several years old. I'm intrigued to see where they've really taken it from that point, and I didn't read up on that, but it would be interesting to see if what they've chosen, from that point on has worked. So
Yeah. So what do you think about their balance of profitability, growth, and creative investment?
I think they were awfully wise to work with the people that they worked with. I thought some of their ventures were a little obscure and bizarre, and I didn't understand. And clearly, it didn't pan out and work for them. So that, I think, was interesting that they had to push some things away, even though it looked like a great profit. But
would you guys think that they have maybe peaked business model-wise? Impression I kind of got.
I think they have found what works for them. I mean, he tried to branch out and do those other things, but they weren't really within the realm of what they were really good at. And so I think they've discovered, this is what we're good at, this is what we can do. As far as improvements, I think that they can definitely have some improvement. I was concerned when I was reading that they don't want to outsource at all.
Yes.
And so it's really expensive if you don't outsource at all. I think there's some opportunities, like dyeing their own fabric. It would be a lot more efficient for them to have a company that they partner with, that's that company's specialty. And just some of the other run-of-the-mill things like accounts payable and the business portion of it, right? And payroll. They don't necessarily need to have, because they talked about having that huge corporate office in Canada where they're just running out of room. And I think a lot of that's because they're trying to hold on to some of those pieces that maybe they would be better suited to just partner with somebody else.
I think that because they have this creative mentality, they don't see that as trusting anyone else to do those other pieces, because coming from a fairly creative mind, that's where I have a hard time wanting anyone else to do that, because in my creative sphere, they're not going to fit in. Mm-hmm. And so they might encroach upon what I see as the vision of what we're moving forward. So I can see that as a huge disadvantage. I think you're right, Becky. They've kind of put themselves into a hole, and they're expanding they're going to have to trust someone else.
At some point, yeah.
At some point, yeah.
I suspect there might be a lot of cousin hiring and friend hiring going on, because it does seem like they are kind of bloated in that department.
In which, say that again for me?
What's that?
What did you say?
I suspect there's a lot of cousin hiring and friend hiring within friends and family going on, because they do seem to be a little bloated in the employee department. I'm
not sure they had time for friends and family. Their scope is huge. I just can't imagine how they've kept up, and that they've kept up so long. So I do think that their biggest hurdle is having to get over that, not allowing anyone else to take different pieces so that they can expand into different markets and areas. That's hard.
Okay. So the next section to talk about is strategic interaction. And the first question has me a little confused, to be honest. The first question is, what is a SWOT analysis and how can it be used in this situation? So SWOT, S-W-A-T, all capitalized. It must be an acronym for something.
It's an acronym for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
Oh, thank you, James.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've seen that before.
So how can it be carried out for a company, product, place, industry, or person? It involves specifying the objective of the business venture or project and identifying the internal and external factors that are favorable and unfavorable to achieve that objective.
Yep. Yeah, so that comes back to the balance, though. It talks about internal factors and external factors. So what are our strengths and weaknesses inside, and then what are the external factors that we could take, opportunities or threats, or ways to help build what we're good at to make up for some of our weaknesses, so that our threats aren't so unsurmountable. Basically, that's what I think.
Okay. So I feel like we already kind of talked about that a little bit then.
Yeah, I think so. But it's SWOT, and on my learning was SWOT, S-W-O-T. So if you look it up, it's not SWAT, it's SWOT.
Huh. Okay, that's A-T in this printout, but
Yeah, I know.
It's
All right, so the next question says, and this one I feel like we talked about a little bit too, but it says, with so many opportunities available, were they entering the right markets?
It looked like I felt like they probably were, but they were also pushing their way into different markets to become bigger. And so pacing themselves, I think, was probably their, entering new markets, sure, but pacing themselves to enter them probably needed to be analyzed.
Yeah, and I don't think that doing the big hotel ventures made a lot of sense for them, right? I think partnering with already established hotels and resorts makes sense.
Yeah.
But I don't know that they want to create their own hotel or resort.
Yeah.
Well, they might have been thinking they could house their people when they come to town or something.
Oh,
But I agree, it doesn't really make sense because a hotel is not a circus. Well, it shouldn't be a circus.
Well,
I've seen some hotels. It should.
shouldn't be.
yeah, that was very interesting. It's almost like they wanted to become their own culture and their own community and let people experience that. That was very interesting. That would have, there wasn't a lot of detail as to how that came about, but that was very, very interesting. I guess pushing their value, their need, onto other people to come in and experience it. I don't know. Weird.
I'm glad that they were
Well, I know
out of it without it damaging their company, right? Because they're still so big and so huge, so it didn't damage their performance base, which is impressive. A lot of times people try to branch out and it kills the whole company.
Yeah, very surprising.
I know if I'm in a new city and I need a place to spend the night, I look for the room that's next to the fire eater. That's a joke, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. The still walker or the yeah.
So the next part, it talks about the brand. It says, what is a brand and what was their focus brand? And was Cirque diluting its brand by extending the show experience from big tops to theaters and arenas?
I think they were just, expanding who they could have in their audience, expanding how to get it to other people. I think it gave them another creative outlet because it would be completely different in how to produce it and how to create it. So opportunity was probably not a bad idea. I don't know that it diluted their brand as long as it didn't get to too many places, which they saw that if they went too many places, they didn't get to have as many shows because people had seen it somewhere else, or that the city wasn't big enough to come and see, to fill the audience.
Mm-hmm. And I think I think it kind of had the opposite effect because when you're touring, you have to take down and set up. Whereas with these shows, they're in a specific theater, specific arena that they can really build to suit exactly what they want to do and not have the added complication of, okay, how do we take this apart and put it back together?
True. Yeah.
I think they were diluting the brand a bit.
Like this one
Especially
show.
Going into movies. Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's all right. Especially this one show that came this summer. It probably took them 2 months to set the big top up.
Yeah.
And another month to take it down. I mean, yeah, and the ability to have. I mean, if you watched that one little clip about the O show in Las Vegas, it was water, and they wouldn't have things like that probably wouldn't happen at a big top. So I think that's true. Yeah.
So it says, should it go back to its roots and expand its big top touring shows? Yeah. I think that having both is a good thing for them.
I think so too. I think they've seen success in both places.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. I kind of wonder if the age of the circus is coming to an end. I read a news article a few months back where this huge circus, and I forget the name of the circus, it could have been linked with this company, but they were putting an end to elephants being in their show.
That was Ringling Brothers, I think.
Yeah, one of the big outfits, and it's like there's humanitarian animal rights issues and stuff, and they had a picture of them crying with the elephants as the elephants were leaving, and it's like,
yeah.
you know, the circus, it's coming to an end. It's being replaced by the digital age. And I think they've got some serious competition with technology.
I think this was their answer to that, though. They didn't want the animals. They didn't. They saw the people being the performance, not the animals carting the people carting the animals for show. So I think that
Is there much of a difference, though? Much of a difference being a performer with an elephant on the stage, or be it a knife thrower in some sort of dance act. They've got competition with computer graphics.
Yeah, I think they
into computer programming. I mean,
yeah, I don't know.
This stuff you can do in 3D that.
Yeah, I think
I don't know. Do you guys see?
It's not just a circus; it's a whole experience. So I see the tour like Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey, like they're going to really struggle because the animal rights and because of that. But I think Cirque du Soleil is in its own class. I don't see that affecting them.
It's almost not a circus.
I think they do.
Yeah.
I think they got huge competition, at least within the next few years, from virtual reality. You can get on the computer and be at World War II with realistic graphics and features and everything. Well, if the industry wanted to, they could make virtual reality circus and have guys throwing stuff and dancing around and all of that, and the kids would love it just the same. And that's trying to appeal to the younger generation. So they've probably seen that. I think they've probably peaked in the industry. Virtual reality is going to take them down a few notches.
I think it'll be an alternative. I don't think it'll replace it.
I hope it doesn't replace it.
Something, but there's still live performances.
Yeah. I think they found their niche market in Las Vegas, because that's what you can choose a variety of shows when you go. It's not just, a live performance or a virtual reality performance. It's all of it and more. And so I think that they found a place that can really house that kind of show. So
I think that kind of leads into the next section where it's talking about organizational and partner trust, because they really created such a partnership with MGM and some of the other hotels. So the questions in this next section is, what is organizational trust and how is it demonstrated? And then what is partner trust and how is it demonstrated? And how did these two different types of trust affect their joint ventures with the casinos? Which partnerships provided most effective? And how does the organizational leadership and culture affect that trust? So just talking about the trust and the partnerships that they were able to build. And I think the big one was with MGM. And, there was a quote in the article, I can't remember where it was, where he said, I trust him. MGM said, I trust him. It's good because I know that he'll do a good job. And just to build that trust is incredible, I think.
Yeah, I remember that quote too. I used it in something because he was so nervous about the direction the show was going. And he came in and they said, come watch. And then they came in and says, oh, I don't need to worry about that. You've got what you're doing on this side. So
I think the problem I see with that is that they talked about him, right? The one guy. We really trust him. Well, he can't run it forever. And they're already trying to branch out. And so I wonder how that trust, like you were talking about what's happening more recently, have that trust gone beyond just the person into the organization of Cirque du Soleil? Has it been able to pass down to the new guy who's more doing a lot of the running of it? And I think that's the only fear I saw, was that it started as this partnership, between him and the other guy, and then they had other people who were the original performers, and slowly they left until it came down to just that one guy who was the original guy, because he didn't like the direction other people were trying to take it. And so I think he really built up a lot in, this is me, it's a one-man show, I'm in charge of the whole thing. And now it sounds like he's trying to transfer that to somebody else, and he's trying to retire a little bit. And I think it'll be interesting to see how that works, and if they can get that trust to go throughout the organization and not be so contingent upon one person.
I know that they have different directors and choreographers that do each of the shows. So he has at least allowed that creativity to flow through someone else and that trust there. but it is very much in his control as an overall decision making. And it will be interesting if he retires or dies, what will really happen. And if, yeah, it will be interesting. Yeah.
They were expanding into different locations and different countries, and I agree. I think it's going to be interesting to see if the trust network will carry through to a different country.
Yeah, that's a good point, because different countries, different cultures.
Well, and clearly that partnership from the beginning, there was a trust factor that was very interesting to me, because they both came from a different background and understanding, and yet came together. And then after, really just before it exploded, one of them left. Mm-hmm. So you have to think that something happened that pushed him out and didn't feel that he was as needed or was as influential as before, and needed to leave. And so clearly, some kind of, I would think some trust was lacking in that partnership at that point, which is why he left. So.
Yeah, definitely. So the other section that we're supposed to talk about is connections. Someone wants to know if this week's Speed of Trust reading applied to the case. If so, how? It says, do you think integrity can lead to profits? What examples of this or do you see in the case study? Can trusting others expand profits? What examples do you see? And then just talking about our own experience with trust.
Well, I think we've talked about how if trust, was influential in this particular case, and obviously it was both sides needing to trust each other to make it work. They couldn't have had the results without that trust. So that's what I think.
I had to respect that he had such a trust relationship with MGM. Mm. They just went on his word. Hey, this is him talking. It's good. And for that much money to be involved between the transaction, and everything just melts and flows nicely for years upon years, that was impressive.
Yeah. And when they did have a question, they said, come look. Mm-hmm. Come look at our books. And they were very transparent. Yeah. And I thought that was a key to that trust factor, is that they were both very transparent in their business dealings. So.
Okay, so the last question is just, how does trust translate into business plans and strategy? Does it have a negative or positive effect?
I think we covered that, yes.
Now, for the business to grow, you got to have an element of trust there. Otherwise, the business isn't going to grow.
Yeah, I think that relates to everything. I'm sure Becky sees that in her young women's presidency meetings and working. I mean, I think it relates. I kind of thought this is kind of what I do as a mom. I trust, I set it up, and then I get the return trust back as I give it. So it applies in anything and everything, and especially in this business. So.
Yeah. Agreed. All right. So any other discussion, or, kind of covered the discussion prompts?
The thing I just realized is I have to do this every week.
Yep. I know.
Yikes. All right.
We'll get it, though.
We'll figure it out.
Eventually.
Yeah.
It's nice to have it done, and the rest of the day's yours, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Well, it is. That's good. I've got a million things going on, so it's perfect.
Yeah. I'll send you guys the link to the place that I found that talked about how to set up Google Hangouts.
Okay.
Hopefully that'll be a little more helpful. Do one of you want to try on Thursday, or do you want me to set it up again this Thursday and give you guys time to kind of play with it before one of you does the next week? What do you think?
I don't mind trying Thursday. That's fine.
Okay.
I think I can do that. So
okay.
I think as long as we're all here to back each other up in it, it'll work out just like today.
And I'll email you guys the link to this video. And then I'm thinking, to be safe, it looks like on the discussion board we're divided into groups on the discussion board. So I think to be safe, we should probably each upload the link to this to show that we were all three here.
Okay, so where do I upload that?
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Well, it's just on we were supposed to do a discussion board on iLearn for this week, but then
And
he decided we should meet with our groups. So I would just say go into that discussion board and just paste the link to this video and state I had a discussion with my group this week.
Okay.
Okay.
That's kind of my thought of how to cover ourselves to show that we did have a discussion, really.
Yeah, we did this. We made it work. Despite okay.
I like the idea of each of us posting just to be safe.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think we're all in different discussion groups, because I think that the discussion board was set up so that the class was divided, so I don't think we'll probably see each other's.
I noticed that. I wondered why.
Well, because we were supposed to do this online this week while giving time to figure out groups, and then it went crazy.
Whatever.
We'll make it work.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll do that. I'll email out this link and then the link where I found good instructions for how to actually make them now.
Sounds good.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you. Becky, say hi to Sister Monson.
I will.
All right.
Yeah. Bye.